Okay, good morning, everybody. Well, as you can see, we're already at the passenger drop-off in Lower Town, Quebec City. It was an early start to the day. Our screw-up with the hotel last night kind of made things end up having to be a bit earlier today, so that's the way sometimes things work. I ended up later last night than I was supposed to be, and I ended up earlier this morning. Anyways, we're spending about half an hour here. This is the oldest part of Quebec City, Lower Town, right by the river, where the French first landed here at this point. And the city was founded down here. To our right, up the hill, is Place Royale. And the church, Notre Dame des Victoires, Our Lady of Victories. Samuel de Champlain founded the city here in 1608. So today we're off to Montreal. It should be a little bit more relaxed. We have a number of things that we're going to go to in Montreal. Most of them will be picture stops. They won't be long stops, but we shall go to them anyways. Tomorrow is Canada Day, and we will be in Ottawa on Canada Day, which should be extreme fun. It's as our nation's capital where all the biggest celebrations happen. So lots of people, lots of road closures. Probably just about every place we want to go will have roads closed, so that should prove interesting. Okay, so we're off to Montreal. We're driving along Champlain Boulevard, which is sometimes known as the River Route. This intersection we're going through, this is Gilmore Hill, is the name of the street coming down from the right. It goes up to the Plains of Abraham, the Battlefields Park at the top of the hill, and that road marks roughly the area where the English were able to find their way up the hill to meet the French in battle outside the walls of Quebec City. It's a scenic way. It's also a quick way from Lower Town to get out to the bridges to cross the river and head towards Montreal. There's a lot of parkland along here. There's a bicycle path all the way along. There's still a little bit of the old shipping ports along here. Quite a lot of road salt moves into Quebec this way. Comes from Goderich, Ontario by ship and is offloaded here down by the river. So there's a lot of parkland, as I was saying. A lot of it has been funded by the federal government, and we're going to see that coming up here in the next clip. This parkland has been completely redone, was done in time for the 2008 400th anniversary of Quebec City. And this is the federal government gift to the city of Quebec. So for all of those of you who are Canadian and have not had the time to go to Quebec City and take a look at this, this is your tax dollars at work. It's really nice. And you do see on a good weather day, you see a lot of people from Quebec City making use of it. So I don't have a problem with this particular use of our tax dollars. But here we are approaching the bridges from below. You can see the old bridge first was a railway bridge originally, and the railway still crosses it. If you travel to Quebec City by train from Montreal, you will cross this bridge. And then behind it is the second bridge, the newer one, the Pierre Laporte Bridge, and that's the one that the highway traffic generally goes over. Cars can go over the old bridge, but no trucks or buses. This is the narrowest point of the St. Lawrence. And we've come up around, and we're just going to get on to Highway 73 South to head across the river on the Pierre Laporte to get onto Highway 20 and head towards Montreal. And here we are in Montreal. It's cleared up, which is nice. It's warmed up, which is also good. And we're headed across the Champlain Bridge, which is not necessarily good. This bridge is well known to be in very rough shape. Not necessarily this iron part of the bridge, but a lot of the concrete sections of this bridge are in very poor repair, and this bridge needs to be replaced. So, taking everybody's lives in my own hands, I guess. But this is the obvious way to go where we're going to go for lunch. You can see downtown Montreal off to our right with the mountain behind. Okay, we've had lunch, and we are now headed up the mountain. We're going on the Décarie Expressway, which is 15. And we are headed to a Catholic pilgrimage site. We're going to the St. Joseph's Oratory, which is up on the mountain. It's quite a prominent thing. It can be seen from most of the city. It was a location founded by a man named Andre. He was a brother who was actually a doorman at the boys' school across the road from this location. He chose this location as a holy site and was the biggest proponent of the building of it. Here we are on Queen Mary Street. There's the school on the left where Brother Andre was the doorman, and we are about to turn into the Oratory property. And there is the Oratory itself. Brother Andre has recently been sainted, so he is now Saint Andre. This is actually my first time visiting this location since he was made a saint. We're going to take the new road. We used to actually go in, the main gates were to the left of where we turned in. We used to go in at the main gates, and then there was a road that went kind of straight up to the Oratory. And it was a very difficult route to maneuver, so we now have this route here that they've built. They're doing a lot of construction, slow progress in changing things around here at the Oratory. There is a fee for groups to go and visit the Oratory, and my group will go in and pay, I think it's $4 a head. It used to be $4 a head to visit the Notre Dame Basilica down at the waterfront here in Montreal as well. I don't know whether that fee has changed or not. So we're headed up to the bus parking, which is right up by the Oratory itself. So we're almost at the top. If we were to go to the right here, which we obviously are not supposed to do, but if we were to go to the right, that would take us up behind the building. It's a service entrance. Here where those pylons are, that's the way we used to come up, and you can see we had to make this 270-degree turn. It was a really hard go to get up here. It's a lot easier now. The road is still steeper than it looks in this video, but nowhere near as steep as it used to be. And then we have this crazy parking situation where cars are always backing out and they never look to see what's going on. The number of times I've almost been backed into up here is absolutely incredible. But these parking spots here on the right are all for buses. And by convention, you always go down to the very end and take the last parking spot that's open. Sometimes they actually have people to guide you in and out here. They're all volunteers, so they're not always here. There it is, St. Joseph's Oratory right in front of us. We're going to be here for a couple of hours. And now we're on our way into downtown. This is the Ville Marie, the 720. We're going to go into the tunnel here. You'll see right above the tunnel, if you look very carefully, that brown building with the CH on it, that is the Bell Centre, where the Montreal Canadiens play hockey. That is the new arena in Montreal. It's been here for a while now, but they don't play in the Forum anymore. That is the ancestral home of the Canadians, which is further out in the west end of downtown. In fact, I guess you wouldn't really call it downtown anymore. It's in Westmount. Lovely condition this tunnel is in, eh? This tunnel goes underneath the downtown, though. This is not underneath water. It's actually underneath the downtown of Montreal. So we're headed this way because we're on our way out to the Olympic Stadium, the old Olympic Park. The group are going to go to the Biodome, which is quite an interesting place. It's like a sort of an indoor zoo in a sense, and it shows different biological environments in North America. But there is the Big O, the stadium from the 1976 Olympics, Summer Olympics here in Montreal. The spaceship kind of looking thing. This is the Olympic Park, the whole area on our left. The Biodome is in the old bicycle stadium, the Velosphere, I guess they would call it. And straight ahead of us is an arena, which I believe is now called the Rocket Richard Arena or something to that effect. There's a statue actually out on the corner of this road and the north-south running road there that is of Rocket Richard. But we're going to turn in here. Some of this is like a retail park. You can see there's movie theaters here to the right, but right here on the left, this building that looks kind of like a bicycle helmet, this is where the Biodome is, and that's where we're going to visit. So I'm going to pull in here and drop the people off, and they're going to spend about an hour and a half here in the Biodome. Now we're on our way back downtown from the Olympic Stadium. You can see the Molson plant, the original Molson Canadian beer plant off on our left. It's a brewery. We're headed back into downtown. We're going to go to the old port of Montreal now before we head out to our hotel for this evening. I'm going to show a complete driving tour of Montreal that I've taken on another trip, but this will give you a little taste anyways. So here we're getting a little bit closer. The Ville Marie is down in the trench on our left side. Part of that tunnel was not an actual dug tunnel. What they did is they dug a trench and then they built buildings over it. But part of it was dug as a tunnel as well. So coming up here on our right hand side, actually, this is all Chinatown back in here. They have a very small Chinatown in Montreal. The Chinese have tended to congregate in Canada, mostly in Toronto and in Vancouver. The immigrants that come to Montreal have a tendency to have come from countries that speak French. It's a French-speaking town for the most part. This building straight ahead of us as we make the turn, this is the Congress Center, the Convention Center in Montreal, downtown. And straight ahead of us, up the hill, is the old part of Montreal, which used to be a walled city, but the walls have been taken down. Now there is an area down by City Hall where archaeologists have dug and revealed portions of the old wall. Straight ahead up the hill, you can see up there in the distance that cathedral. That is Notre Dame Basilica. It is a very famous church in Montreal. Celine Dion had a marriage there. It's a you have to be a very important person to get to use the main
part of the church for your wedding. Pierre Trudeau, one of our prime ministers, also his funeral was held there. So now we're headed out to our hotel from the downtown core. That is the Victoria Bridge that we just went under. It carries the railway across the river and also cars. Again, trucks and buses are not allowed on that bridge. And this is the Bonaventure auto route. We're headed, again, we're going to cross the Champlain Bridge. It would have been almost as easy to cross the Jacques Cartier to go to our hotel because our hotel is immediately at the other end. But because of where we were in downtown, it kind of made it a little bit more awkward to get to the Jacques Cartier from the downtown end. So we just opted to go this way. A little bit longer, but a bit of an easier maneuver. On the right-hand side here are movie studios. And currently in Montreal, they are shooting X-Men, and you'll see that maybe in my driving tour movie, we actually go through some of the areas where they were doing some shooting. So you may see that, but the newest X-Men movie is being shot here in Montreal. Okay, so we've come across the Champlain Bridge. We're on Highway 20 and we're just exiting now. You can see the bridge in front of us is actually the end of the Jacques Cartier Bridge. And our hotel is immediately behind that bridge structure. So you can see that we are right at the end of the Cartier Bridge on this side, the South Shore. But as I said, it wasn't really that easy to get to the Jacques Cartier from where we were in downtown. So it was kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other as to which bridge we decided to take. So here we are, the Sandman Hotel. Now, this hotel has a bus parking spot. It doesn't have any place inside for a bus to turn around though. So, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to pull up and stop. My tour director is going to get out and he is going to open the gate for me and I am going to back in. Now, these are the kind of fun stuff that you have to do sometimes depending on where you're going. We'll let Adirondack, that's a US company and they do line runs between Toronto and Montreal to New York City. So they don't run from Toronto to Montreal, but they run from Montreal to New York City. And they run from Toronto to New York City. So here we are backing into the driveway. We're going to back through that gate now that my tour director has it open. We don't have to pay to park in here, but we do have to get through the gate in both directions, and we'll have a special pass to get out in the morning. And now I will back into the parking spot, which is right in front of the front door. And it's the end of the day for me and the end of the day for the group. Tomorrow we're off to Ottawa, then to Kingston, and we're on our way home. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next part of the trip coming up soon.